The recording has started. All participants are muted.
Well, I remember a teacher that I had. Now, I went through the 7th grade. I went to the 7th grade. I left home when I was 10 years old because I was hungry. And I used to, this is true. I work in the summer and I go to school in the winter. But I had this one teacher. He was the principal of the Harrison School in Vincennes, Indiana. To me, this was the greatest teacher, a real sage of my time, anyhow. He had such wisdom. And we were all reciting the Pledge of Allegiance one day. And he walked over, this little old teacher. Mr. Laswell was his name. Mr. Laswell, he says, he says, I've been listening to you boys and girls recite the Pledge of Allegiance all semester, and it seems as though it's becoming monotonous to you. If I may I recite it and try to explain to you the meaning of each word? I, me, an individual, a committee of one, pledge, dedicate all of my worldly goods to give without self-pity. Allegiance, my love and my devotion to the flag, our standard, Old Glory, a symbol of freedom. Wherever she waves, there's respect, because your loyalty has given her a dignity that shouts freedom is everybody's job. United. That means that we have all come together. States, individual communities that have united into 48 great states. 48 individual communities with pride and dignity and purpose. All divided with imaginary boundaries, yet united to a common purpose. And that's love for country. And to the Republic, a state in which sovereign power is invested in representatives chosen by the people to govern. And government is the people. And it's from the people to the leaders, not from the leaders to the people, for which it stands. One nation, meaning so blessed by God, indivisible, incapable of being divided, with liberty, which is freedom, the right of power to live one's own life without threats, fear, or some sort of retaliation. And justice, the principle or qualities of dealing fairly with others. For all, which means, boys and girls, it's as much your country as it is mine. And now, boys and girls, let me hear you recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Since I was a small boy, 2 states have been added to our country, and 2 words have been added to the Pledge of Allegiance: under God. Wouldn't it be a pity if someone said that is a prayer and that would be eliminated from schools too?
Thank you for joining us. This is The Disclaimers by Davidlee, Buess, and Edward Johnston. Today's date is October 2nd, 2017. And take it away, Ed.
Thank you. We'd like to thank you all for joining us this evening. We want to hit a very sensitive topic tonight for most, and it's legal and illegal immigration. We're not talking bloodline. We're talking legal immigration and illegal immigration. We're talking the point of what a citizen and a national is. And this is the one thing that, I've gone through this with many people on the internet, and I've had people monitoring me and going off on their own tangents through their own talk shows and telling people how I'm not speaking the truth. But let me explain what the law is. And the statute and codes. Immigration, number one, has no rights. Period. There is no such thing as called the Dream Act, because when you wake up from a dream, it ain't a dream anymore. So let's be realistic, folks. Let's come to reality. Let's quit living in the fantasy of Disneyland and the fantasies of fairy tales and Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny and all those other fairy tales of Halloween.
You're here.
Yeah. So anyhow, the bottom line comes down to, if you're claiming to be a citizen or a national, that violates National Act, and you can go look this up for yourself, the Federal Immigration and National Act, 8 USC 1324. Read the entirety of it. Because I want you folks to start reading this, because I get so disturbed when people want to sit there and go behind my back and do different things, because I just went off with Brian Parker again. Yes, Brian, I'm speaking of you. Hopefully somebody passes this on to you. We just had it out on the internet a couple days ago, and I know you've been back and forth and following me with all the crap when you went after our, what was that you were doing? You came up with Lawful American Solutions. And then you changed yourself again, and that's not even in existence on the internet and at all, that I found. So let me clarify. The Federal Constitution makes a clear distinction between natural, native born versus citizen and national of the United States Incorporation. This is the 14th Amendment, where these people like, Parker and all these other people go, oh, the 14th Amendment doesn't give you rights. It puts you in slavery. It'd be nice if these people would actually do the research and actually read the circumstances. I have invited him on talk shows before in the past when we've gone back and forth on these things. But these guys do not want to stand up. That's the thing that is very intriguing and interesting. They're willing to go do this, and people change their talk shows on Monday night to take away our people, which I've been noticing that they've been out there doing this, and we comprehend the reality of this stuff. This is not a joke. This is real. We know what the games are because of your deal, because a lot of these people got people coming to you and giving you money and doing memberships with a different or different things like traveling rights and stuff, and you're becoming members to these other cool things that they have what they call a common law court. Well, remember, common law courts are Britain. Common law is when you go to a court because the judge is common law. That is the one point. The courts are common law. And this is the other point, I love it. Now these other guys move their talk show from Wednesday to our talk show night. This is the Million Parent March. Isn't that interesting? 5 people now have moved their structure to our nightly show. And I find it very interesting because we have to have... Will you say something, Dave?
Yeah, we need to...
Mike, Dave, we can't hear you.
We need to become more expensive. So for a $1,000 donation to Dave and Ed, we will allow you to become a member of our, let's do an organization. That way they wouldn't feel as though they were getting something for nothing.
Yeah, I mean, Kurt Law Corner and all these things that are doing all this crazy crap that, these guys are coming around following us. They're bringing out their structures, and not one of them have success. And at least I can say that I have had success, and I do have success of what's going on.
Don't most of them end up in jail?
Huh?
Don't most of these guys end up in jail?
Oh, that's a true fact, too. Most of them are in jail. You know, and that's the other point that, you know, these guys keep going on, Ed, how do you keep not being in jail and stuff? And it's like, knowing the Constitution, not...
Well, you have to also remember, they wrote it, we quote it.
That's right.
So they can't put us in jail for something they did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a fact. That is a true fact. And it would be nice if these men and women actually stood up for their country. I get so disgusted with these veterans that claim this and claim that, and we're standing up when they don't even give a damn about their own children.
Right.
I mean, and that's the frustration point. They don't give a damn about their own attention.
There's
and
a
this
blogger
thing.
out there, Ed. I'm going to send it to you.
Well, okay, what do you think?
And what we need to do is get off of Facebook to where these people don't have a clue what the hell they're doing, especially when somebody makes a charge unfounded and they just throw your ass off of Facebook or freeze your account. So
you're going through that for some reason. I've never been blocked, only when I had the Democrats go after me from time to time.
Well, they claimed I represented myself. I sent them a note that there's only 7 David Buesses. So if, which one did I supposedly misrepresent?
So that's what they were saying.
Mm-hmm.
That somebody was pretending.
Yeah, I got you on that one.
Somebody was pretending to be me, so they threw me off Facebook. Now, doesn't that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So
well,
all of the
go ahead,
public
Dave.
notices that I wanted to post on Facebook, I couldn't. So I figured, okay, you want to play your game, I'll play your game too. I'll go to I'll become a blogger, and I'll just throw it out there as public notice. Have a nice website on Blogger now. So.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think they're on Facebook too. So, gee whiz, I guess I win, huh?
Well, not sure about that one, but time will tell in the long run. So, but I want to really tag into this legal and immigration stuff so people can comprehend what the truth is compared to the misinformation that they're getting out there, because people are getting themselves into trouble. That's why I asked people, me and Dave did put together an affidavit that we filed with House and Senate, Congress, the Supreme Court, the Immigration Act, and everything else, proving that there is a lawful structure of bloodline and legal and national citizens in this country. And national citizens own allegiance to the former corporation called the former government, and that's by law. And this is
people need to comprehend this. The corporation, United States of America, DBA Federal Corporation, is a de facto government. There was never a constitutional amendment giving Congress or public elected officials any authority to form the federal corporation. It was without the knowledge and consent of we the people. So therefore, it is a, what do they call that, sham process.
Yeah, that's a fact.
And I've asked Congress, I can't count the number of letters that I've written to my three stooges relating to who were the signers of this corporation. It takes three to form a corporation. Who signed this? They don't want to respond to that. Now, why wouldn't someone who's stating in 28 USC3002 definition 15, United States means a federal corporation, why would they not want to produce those documents?
Well, you know why? Because if they produce it, then that puts them in a liability situation to be sued in proving the truth. We know why.
Why, I just wanted you to say that, Ed, so that the people would comprehend what was going on.
Right. Getting that point out. But know why, and that's the whole point, is trying to get this out so people comprehend what the truth is.
Exactly.
Yeah, and like I said, there is no such thing as lawyers and all this stuff. You get all these people that sit there and try to get you representing you, and I won't get into names, but there's a lot of people out there trying to represent people, and everybody ends up in jail losing their cases and stuff. And this is the point, is like Dave said, they wrote it, we quote it, we go by their administrative rules, and we're putting them on the spot. You have to write the criminal charges on the criminals.
Well, if the lawyer goes into court and he represents the corporation, which they make you and I the corporation by the all caps name, he has to bring our charter into court. So how many times that you've been to court and your lawyer walks in there, how many times has he had your charter? Where is your, think about this, if you're a corporation and you are properly registered in the corporate state you live in, you have to have a charter, a bond, and a business license to operate. So where are all those three documents when they enter court? They don't produce a single one of them.
Right.
That's fraud upon the court. That's fraud upon you. That's misrepresentation of you. That's identity theft. Stop and think about the cover page. When you look at your cover page of your court case, that has a court case number on it. That is traded on Dun & Bradstreet, Wall Street. The judge in every court is running a bond, commodities, and QSIP fraud scheme against you the minute you enter that courtroom. Not to mention the color of law fraud scheme under color of law based on the flags that are flying in the courtroom. Go
and
ahead.
the on top of the flag. Don't forget that.
Oh, most definitely. Because what people don't comprehend is what they don't know. And the fraud scheme that they put on you, the minute you open the door to the courtroom, either through color of law fraud or what law are they practicing against you, they don't ever tell you, do they? So how can you go into court not knowing what law they're practicing in that courtroom? Is it Hebrew, German, Swiss, Irish, English? What law? How do you defend yourself against a law you don't know being practiced against you? That would be fraud upon the court by the judge. The judge is not the court. He is supposed to be the trustee in the matter. And how many courts? This court is now in session. Do you have any idea what session means? Session is two courts talking to each other. Session. Now, if they convene the court to hear the matter between Joe Blow and John Smith, now you have a lawful assembly to hear the matter. And I guarantee you probably 99% of all cases in the United States can be appealed for due process violations. Got a question, Hope?
No, that's a fact. They can. And this is the one thing, when you use the word citizen or national, you're claiming that you are a corporation member of the United States Incorporation, Inc. And there's people out there that will say, oh, no, it doesn't work that way. Well, when you read our instruments, we actually quote the laws and administrative rules that your elected and public servants use, and it clearly states it. And it's like 28USC 1481. When a public servant takes an oath, taking citizenship is relinquished. All right, so their citizenship, and some people say, well, they got state citizenship. No, it's all the same thing. When they relinquish their national or citizenship as a public servant, all right, doesn't mean that they have any higher power. It means they have no rights per se. They cannot sit there and go to court. I have a Fifth Amendment right. No, they don't have a right to use these type of things in court, what they're getting away with today. And this is
And
our
the first place said they have not established their proper status in court.
No, not only that, but yes, but they can't even use any of the Constitution in court.
Well, that's the thing. If they
Mandated.
don't have a proper, if they haven't stated their status in court, what is my status in this court?
We're not talking about we the people. We're talking about public servants. They don't have
that, Ed, but you got to remember, even the public service must recognize your status.
I'm talking about a judge. I'm talking about a mayor. I'm talking about an FBI agent. Do not have rights. They cannot sit there. I claim the Fifth in court. They have no rights to claim anything like that.
You are absolutely
They have
right, because
That's putting the law on.
Yes, they gave up their citizenship the minute they took an oath.
They have to respond to every question. They do not have a point where they can sit there and claim like a citizen or a national, and especially a lawful American, have the rights over all of them.
That's right.
You know, and this is the point that it goes on with the circumstances, because all citizens and nationals are subject under foreign state administrative rules. And that's part of the 11th Amendment states. Power shall not constrict and extend to the suit in law, equity, commerce, prosecution against one in the United States by a citizen of another state, or by citizen or subject of a foreign state. So you don't have these rights. Cannot bring any suit against a foreign identity agency, or a state cannot bring any suit against an American without following the procedure, and mainly that is an affidavit written in clarity proving that there was an injured party or property damage. So these are the points of law. And these are points that people need to comprehend. It's like the Bar Association. You know, we know it belongs to the British Auxiliary to the King and Queen of England. You agree with that one, don't you?
The bar is definitely a British piece of crap, yes.
Mm-hmm.
The BAR is direct constitutional violations. The preamble of the Constitution has nothing to do with it. So anything to do with the king, the queen, the crown, the bar, the BA British Accreditation Registry, and of court, all that Bower Street bullshit applies to them, not us.
Mm-hmm. And
so why do we have lawyers and attorneys and judges, members of the bar, former members of the bar, practicing law in our courtroom?
Mm-hmm. And under USC 22611, all bar members are foreign agents, judges, all of them. And under 28 USC 3002, they have to have an oath and bond filed, and if they don't, they can be arrested.
Doesn't that also go to unregistered foreign agents, Edward?
Right, and that's what we're doing right now. I'm finishing that up. I finally got everything set up for it, and I just haven't had a chance to line it all up yet because I'm trying to get everything so it chronically orders and makes logical sense when it's written and done.
Okay.
So,
a little bit of news that came out today. I haven't verified this yet, but I want to get it out on our show.
Okay.
All debts owed to the IRS have been terminated, canceled. So if you are getting threatening letters from the IRS, that's all been canceled. I understand Mr. Trump did an executive order today, but I haven't verified it. I'm still looking. Another thing is, I want to let people notice, that I did serve my second notice of default against the IRS. Upon the third notice, then I can take them into court and sue them. So I am in the process of doing that. It's notice of deficiency, notice of dishonor. My second notice on that. They have to give them another 21 days to respond. And that also went to Financial Management Services, Social Security Administration, and some other unknown entities I'll let you people know about. But trust me, the IRS is a member of the IMF, who is a division of the United Nations. It is not a U.S. government agency. So people don't be fooled. These people are imposters. They're impostering the fact they claim to be a U.S. government entity, which is horse hockey.
Yeah, and be careful of those phone calls from these people, too.
I got a call from them the other day, and I left it on my answering machine. You are receiving this call because we're going to issue a warrant for your arrest. Please call the following number. No, I don't want a contract with them, so I didn't call it. But I kept it on my answering machine as proof of harassment. They were ruled unconstitutional by the Supreme Court in 1935. So why do I have to communicate with an unconstitutional entity? U.S. versus Constantine. Look it up.
And most of those guys are sitting at home and they're waiting for your call, and they'll tell you to send them a money order at some P.O. box or some address that doesn't really exist. It's all a fraud anyways. Totally a fraud.
I left it on the recording because the guy quotes his number. So, if you're going to be a fox, you got to think like a fox. If you're going to be a crook, you got to think like a crook. And if you're going to be a lawful bloodline American, you got all the backing in the world.
True. And then the other point, too, is that when people start looking at this and saying that we're 50 states, we're only, and that's one thing about these other groups, they keep writing 50 states. Well, folks, I hate to tell these people, there is no 50 states. It's 50 states in a corporation. Either you're lawful or legal. And if you're 50 states, you are legal. You have no rights. You are stuck right in the stuff. And I watch these people all the time that keep people in the system this way. And people write their instruments, and they're wondering why they get dismissed or why they get thrown out. Well, it's the wording. It is 100% the wording that you use. And if you use these words, national, and I've watched people that put all over, I got my national ID card. I won't have their ID card. I wrote mine. I filed mine with the Department of Secretary of State, with the governor's office. Been around in the media and stuff like this, so so I mean, like I said, under the structure, an attorney corporation, and by the 14th Amendment clearly states, one is unconditional sovereign by natural birth on the 48 state soil. You cannot be in the military, be born in another country, and say you're an American. You're honorary. You're privileged. You don't have bloodline rights. Only your parents do, or whoever was born. Until your children are born on this soil, then that way it leaves. But you are born in another country. It's just the way it is. This is the 14th Amendment. This is the way it is written. This is where people have to start comprehending these things. It's like now we're going through this other thing. They're doing a vigil right now for the shooting in Vegas, What's the truth with that, What Democrat organization set that one up? Gotta say it.
No, Ed. Well, indirectly, you're correct, because before they pass more gun laws, they always have one of these. Haven't the American people caught on to this bullshit yet? We'll have a shooting. Oh, that one wasn't bad enough, so we'll shoot up more. And we just keep going until we think we've got enough people on our side, and then we'll write another gun law.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I hate to tell you this, folks, but I don't care. Congress, by legislation, can't alter the Constitution from which they derive their power to legislate.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are participating in trying to rewrite the Constitution by legislative act, you're committing treason against your oath of office and the Constitution. The Second Amendment is our right.
Not
As
privilege.
lawful bloodline Americans, it is our right. It's not a privilege. And
Citizens and nationals are privileged, and you have to register with the 1938 Foreign Administration Registration Act. All immigrants have to register. That's by law. And that's where it's going to take Americans to start standing up and turning these people into ISIS, make sure ISIS works, and ship them home. When these people are out there whining on the streets, well, what about my kid? Or the kids are going, you're going to ship my daddy home. And I was born here, so I'm an American. No, you're not. By federal law, 1884, the courts clearly stated you can be born on this soil, but you're not native, and that was done in 1884. That was right with the passage after the passage of the 14th Amendment and Congressional Act on lawful and legal in this country. And that goes
already passed this information on to Mr. Trump. Now, the reason I called him Mr. Trump instead of President Trump is not a disregard for his office. It's the fact that if he wants to be the president and CEO of the corporation, I'll address him as Mr. Trump.
That's right. He's not a president. He's not a king to any land. He is the president of the corporation and shall be dressed still as a man. That makes perfect.
If we want to do away with the de facto corporation, hey, I'm for it any time, because it was all established in fraud from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So we know we have a de facto corporation running the government, and unfortunately, I don't consent because number one, I like the constitutional republic better, and that each state is guaranteed a Republican form of government is just dandy with me. So I'll keep it that way.
And also, too, the people that like to use the word person and national and citizen, those words do not include a lawful blood sovereign. And you can look that up, U.S. versus General Motors Corporation, D.C., 3 I's, 2 F.R.D. A person, in the Black Law Dictionary and Vauvier, is an inanimate object. And so that's why they give people a birth certificate for immigration. And when I get with the other structure, we're going to get a lawful American birth certificate that we're creating up right now. Is that a birth certificate?
I believe it was
It's
the Supreme Court
born.
that ruled that corporations are dead entities.
That's right.
So if you're a dead entity, you have no standing.
Mm-hmm.
So is that why when you go into court, they change your name to the all caps name, which is their corporate name, so that they can put it down that you have no standing in their courtroom?
That is the main thing there.
People. The courts intentionally rewrite your cover sheets to meet their corporate need. If you go in there in the upper lowercase, your name, crime victim, corpus delicti, etc., okay? And the next thing you get from the court is a letter from them in the all caps name. That's identity theft, people. Because the court's running that bond, CUSIP, and commodities fraud scheme against you. That's for profit by the judge. He gets 25% of the intake of the court, plus, oh my God, a bunch of stuff on his retirement account. Once he sells your case on Wall Street, the bond, CUSIP, and commodities fraud scheme he's playing against you, that all goes to his retirement account. No wonder he's incorporated on D&B.
Mm-hmm.
And once he's a corporation, he gave up his government entity. That's Clearfield Doctrine. Read the Clearfield Doctrine. Oh my. Judge, where have you gone wrong?
Yeah.
And the prosecutors know better, because he's putting puts against the national debt on your case. He's charging your case off to puts on the against the national debt. So that makes him a crook too.
Well, they're all crooks when it comes down to it, but let's get back to legal and illegal immigrations. We got to protect this soil. That's more important, or else we're going to war, folks. We got to start standing up, and there's got to be men back in this country instead of the little wimpy boys that have become. Very few real men. Very few men know how to even stand up to even fight. And I know this one for a fact. Witnessed it all the time. And it's very disturbing when people sit there and go, I'm going to sit there and raise war and we're going to do this. No, one man or one Mormon cannot do it. And the saddest part is getting people to stand together and filing, individual lawsuits on these men and women. That is the point that has to be done. Now, when I get this other two projects done, because I've got some projects that we do have on the internet, on our website now, and I'll be getting the other ones up for the other 50 states, is freedom of FOIA request. And, of course, I did a FOIA request, and I think it's 9 pages long, because I wanted to make sure people are registered in their position. And if they're not registered, that means men and women need to file on these men and women. Can't sit there and still hide behind a skirt tail. Now, if we don't protect this country, we're going to be worse than England. And if you've been listening to England, okay, England has been taken over pretty much by the Muslims. And this is a scary fact, because they're saying in 16 or 17 years, England will not be existing. They'll all be thrown out by the Muslims. So this is a fact, folks. You have to start protecting your country. I cannot walk in your home, take your remote from you, and tell you how to live in your house. And you're allowing these people to do it in our country.
Well, this is how stupid our Congress is.
Well, our Congress does it because they're getting paid to do it by the Vatican and all those damn Christians.
Well,
and all those Bible thumpers that believe in this stuff going, oh, we're supposed to open our hearts to the world. What fools.
There's nowhere. I don't see that written in any constitutional law.
Neither do I, but these people do it going, we need to be a world nation.
That sounds like the Democratic Party doing that BS.
That's right, and people are making a living off of people's birth certificate bond.
Sure.
And remember, churches, when you go to food banks, oh, what do? They run you on a credit card on your food point. They write you off on a debt, and they collect the money at the end of the year.
HJR 192 again. Isn't that funny that the churches and all of them know about HJR 192, your banks and your utility companies and your hospitals and all that, they all know about HJR 192, but yet they bill and invoice you.
Mm-hmm. And then they write off invoices to these companies. The companies write off the invoice when we should be writing off our own invoice and being written off, not the churches. We know that's a fact.
We just got an email that said Pope Francis compares Trump to Hitler.
Well, Pope Francis is goddamn Hitler, and I hope that boy has a shock and a heart attack. I'd like to see another lightning bolt hit the damn Vatican and the floor fall out from underneath it.
You know, I find...
Tired of those damn religious idiots. The Pope is the goddamn devil, and I'll say it again, the goddamn devil is the Pope. I filed on his soul because of the Treaty of 1213, and if you go back to the first man that ever filed on his soul in 1123, the monk, because of the same thing that the church is doing to you right now, rape, robbing, and pillaging you. And then they're sitting letting the children be raped in church. The cops are covering it up. The senators are covering it up. You're covering it up. Oh, God is going to save me. Oh, God. What kind of bullshit is that? Sorry. I just get so frustrated when I listen to people go off on these criminals. You know, these guys are destroying our families, our bloodline, and people go back to them. It's like all these people right now going through court cases, and they're sitting there praying to God is going to save them. God's never saved them. So, anyhow, sorry about that. Go ahead, Dave.
I don't realize, Ed, that the Catholic cult is a cult.
All religions are cults.
And so if you have a cult, it's not really a religion, is it?
You know?
It's Satanism.
Mm-hmm.
So people.
Well, if you look at the term religion, it is a cult.
Two things people don't want to talk about is politics, which they don't comprehend that law is not politics. And second of all, they want to talk about religion because that might upset somebody. Somebody's right. Actually, it's not really a right. It's you have a right to freedom of religion or freedom from religion. They forgot there's 2 points to that.
Right.
So, you know, you have a right to defend yourself. So it's probably one of the few places where you actually can defend yourself and get by with it.
Yeah, and that's one point that we've got to get back in, because these churches, these immigrants that are just jumping the border, coming over, it's like in Oregon here. Our Senate and House is spending millions of dollars protecting illegal immigrants, putting the veterans literally on the street. People who are actually criminally been assaulted, they ignore them and turn their back on them because the immigrants are more important because they're using a fake straw man account to write them off as more important in your life.
Well, actually, what they're doing is they're assigning birth certificates, and then they can use the birth certificate to fund the national debt.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they did to the American people. They created the birth certificate. That's, what is that, $300,000 bond on that? So the birth certificate's another $1 million. So they created two bonds. Then they declared the citizen dead and you dead. Your certificate of live birth is declared dead by the county coroner. It's, you know, I find it interesting too, Ed, that you and I both filed with our county coroners for a coroner's inquest onto our death.
Mm-hmm.
My county coroner hasn't been able to find my grave.
Same with mine. Nobody wants to discuss it.
No, they don't. I can't quite get the reason why he doesn't want to communicate with me. I'm supposed to be, according to you declared me dead on the birth certificate so that you could create the certificate of live birth. So why don't you explain your fraud to me?
Yeah, that is another point, too.
The first county coroner here in Hancock County, Ohio, resigned when I submitted that to him. The second one just refuses to talk to me.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, let's open up the floor, see if anybody wants to do, and also too in the future, anybody can chime in on *6. I think that's it. So if anybody would like to chime in, the floor is open.
Whenever it's lecture mode, nobody can unmute themselves, and for Q&A session, which we're going into, will be *61 to get into the queue.
Q&A session has started.
I know we've discussed a lot of this stuff before, but it's worth repeating because people really, really, really need to know where and how the fraud scheme begins.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's not earth-shaking news, and it's not earth-shaking events, but, when you're being conned, people, you need to comprehend the reality of what happens to you being conned. I mean, look what happens when they do a Ponzi scheme. Oh my goodness, this is not much more than a Ponzi scheme. And look how the master of the Ponzi schemes got put in prison. And yet our public and elected officials won't go after themselves for pulling the same BS game.
Mm-hmm. Now they got this new one where the guy's doing this new deal called Kirk's Law Corner for Dummies. And these guys keep you in the system. You guys got to wake up and realize that these people that, are changing all their talk shows to Monday night, they keep you in the system. That's the interesting point. And I watch how they, go after us and do all this stuff. And, not one of them have won a case. And I know that for a fact because I watched them. Not one of them attends to what's really going on. They sit there and all they are is talk. And this is the frustration, and people follow these people for some crazy reason. Oh, that's right, because they keep talking about God. Well, isn't it interesting, when you pray to God, unless man does something, there is no movement.
Well, I thought they followed them because they were members of. They paid dues to the organization.
Some do, some don't. But they're going after and telling everybody, what they're claiming. And this is the point. None of these people know the truth. And this is the point. It's really frustrating. Right now, I'm tagging on to Kurt deal, and it's like, because he's doing his talk show now, the Million March Parent deal. And it's like, they had this Million Parent March, and what did they have? 20 people show up to it? There's supposed to be 1 million people that they were pushing across the country. This is what stuns me, and then they still get people that are still sitting there doing this stuff and following this, and so I'm putting stuff up on as well. I don't mind helping people out, because I don't want to see people end up in trouble because of what the circumstances from somebody else.
Well, you have to remember how nice the corporation made it for everybody. You work Monday through Friday. You're not allowed any time off to attend a rally. So you either have to do it on a weekend and hope to God you get back by Monday morning to go to work.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't get dock pay, So it's, it's like a redress a grievance. So we have the right to redress a grievance, but if Congress decides to ignore you, which they did in 2002, they committed treason against the Constitution for denying us our right to redress a grievance over the federal income tax issue. Congress didn't want to talk about it, neither did the IRS, so they just ignored us. That's committing treason against the Constitution. Because we, the people, have the right to, what's that? Redress of grievance. So, in and for the record, Congress, you're guilty of treason against the Constitution.
That's right. And that is the main point. And like I said, a lot of these guys will try to get you hooked in and try to tell you that you don't have rights, and the 14th Amendment doesn't give you rights. The 14th Amendment separates lawful and legal. And it says in the 14th Amendment, are you a citizen? Are you a national?
There again, we got off subject.
Right. Well, what do you mean off subject? That's part of the immigration.
Yeah, you're true. That's true. Okay.
So, I mean, and this is the point that gets to me about this structure, is that people don't even know what a citizen is. They don't know the structure of what it is. They don't know what a public servant is, because they think the government is something else when the Pope is claiming the government is him worldwide. And this is the point.
Citizen and national, the same thing, Ed?
Citizen and national are identical to the same thing. Of an organization, like a church organization, religious organization, yeah, fraud.
Okay.
You know, so that is the point, that it is that, and this is the one thing that people don't comprehend it. Because I'm having fun throwing him off on his little law for dummies, because law for dummies, you know, I've talked to this guy, I posted on his website, and then he's reading our site and explaining things to structure, and then he's quoting Title 32, domestic relationships, and it's like, you know, yeah, parental rights only happen if you're lawful. Yes, I know all this stuff. I know more than he could even know about parental rights. I've got more children home. This guy's never got one children home.
My God, Ed, think about this. If what you just said is true, children's services are, they're breaking the law every time they walk in and take a kid out of the home.
Right, and that's where they get terrified of me. You know, I mean, I when I file in the state of Oregon Territory, Oregon West Coast, I mean, shit, they know my name. I've got children home just on the filing. Okay, but see, the main point is the parents, you know, it's like one case I have, and this lady keeps telling me, well, I don't know why I should file on the judges and the three attorneys. Well, and what does it matter if I file on them or not? Well, if you don't file on them, what the hell am I doing with you? You're whining that they're not giving you rights. So, you know, are you getting rights or not?
Well, you have to comprehend the fact, Ed, that the Children's Protection Services get, I think it's $17,000 for every child they take out of the home. And the judge gets $50,000, and it all comes out of Social Security. I wonder why we don't have any money in Social Security. Oh, golly gee.
Yep.
There again, the judge pockets it in his corporate retirement fund. Hallelujah.
That's the one point.
Understand?
You know?
You see a conflict of interest, Ed?
Big conflict of interest.
Oh, my. Oh, my, oh, my.
And that's where people don't even comprehend that one.
Questionnaire.
If I may.
Ed, we got a question.
Hi, everyone. This is Angie.
Hey, about time we hear your voice after months.
I've been trying to get on here. I get kicked off before I get this far.
Well, you know my number.
What's that?
I said, you know my number.
Yeah, I try my question.
Yeah, well, anyhow, go on with your question.
Okay, I've got a couple for you. With my RICO claim, my complaint that I filed, I had somebody tell me that to make sure I was doing it right and following all the rules and procedures, that I needed to file it at the trial court, also where my case began, my initial divorce case began. So I went ahead and I tried to do that, and the clerk's response was, no, you can't file because the judge says you can't file. The fine print in there is that I can't file anything if it's related to...
Did we lose you?
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Can you hear?
There. Ed, send her that video we just sent you today.
Yeah, okay, I'll send her that one. And then the other point, what I've been trying to get you to comprehend is you never, ever talk first. You always certify mail it first.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so you have a receipt that they received it, right?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, and then you walk in and all you do is file what you've already filed.
Okay, how and where?
Okay, you have a deal that says on when you send it certified. Did you save the original? You sent them a copy, or did you send them the original?
Okay, I kept the original. I sent them a copy because the original
is yours. That's correct.
Yeah.
For you, good for you. You took a copy of it and sent them the copy of the original.
You got it.
So, and that is the point. Now, when you go to the clerk, didn't you get a copy of the clerk filing that says that it's so simple that if they don't accept your claim, you file that in Washington, D.C., and they can lose their job?
I don't have that, hon. Where would I get that?
It's on our website.
Okay, where is that headed?
I'll have to double check on that and get it to you.
New Oregon
Okay, yeah.
Trackers, Ed?
Huh?
New Oregon Trackers or the other one?
New.Oregon Trackers, it should be up there, and I think it might be on the Facebook sites, but I'll have to double check, and I will have that to you by tomorrow night.
Awesome. Yeah, she won't file. I had even sent it via email with all of that on there, and she said we can't. She replied back via mail with a copy of the judge's order that I can't file anything. And I'm
all right. Well, see, the judge is not the court. We can file on the judge because we can prove he's not the court, so he does that. He's
not the judge for being biased.
Well, yeah.
Right.
The other point is once I get this other form done, we'll get you the FORA request form.
Okay.
I just wrote that up for several people. We'll get that email to you. You're going to do a FORA request form to them on the information.
What was that request?
FORA, the Public Information Act.
Oh, right, the FOIA. Okay.
Right, the FOIA. But see, the way I wrote it is totally different than what everybody else writes it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Totally different because what I did is I put in the structure that if they're not registered with the 1938 Foreign Registration Act, and you can prove that you file criminal charges on them, and bye-bye.
Okay, well, remember, this is my RICO, and so she's already a defendant in my RICO.
Well,
and
she's prison if she's not registered.
I don't think she's anybody. I think she's a dang secretary, quite honestly.
Doesn't matter. We're going to put her in a liability issue.
That's fine and dandy. I just want to keep pushing this forward because my little girl's at jeopardy in this, and these people are blocking me. So my other question will be that I'm getting replies back because the time has come, and the responses I'm getting back are from some other jackass attorney and the Attorney General or the Assistant Attorney General saying, oh, we're protecting our corrupt judges. I'm wondering what I can do about that because...
Angie, that's what I'm saying. We're going to serve them the Foreign Administration Act, and then you're going to ask for specific information.
Okay.
Okay, and
I just
some sit there and argue that, because then what you're going to do is when you send it to them, you're sending it to the FBI, the United States Marshals, and the Department of Justice.
Okay, that's wonderful. I just have to do something because their replies have come in and are coming in, and 2 asked for extensions. And actually, there was Daniel Hovland, the head judge of the federal court there, assigned a magistrate judge.
Well, you can
However,
hold them in contempt of court because they don't to respond to you.
Yeah. But did you ever file for your child as your property? Did you ever claim your property in writing?
no, I do not feel I know the proper steps to do that. And I've seen so much variety on it, I don't feel confident, so I've not.
Well, don't you feel confident in taking the variety and putting one together yourself?
Well, some people say do it this way, and I've started the process, and some people say do it that way. So I don't know which.
3 or 4 or 5 different people's heads, but write it up so you got a base down.
Okay.
Put it together, because it's your bloodline. It's 50% your bloodline. You have 50% claim.
Yes.
You do your cover sheet to the court like you normally do. Addendum.
Could not understand you.
Addendum case. And you
Say it
go,
again, Dave.
I heard addendum. That's all I heard.
No, I say you do an addendum to your case, your cover sheet, like you normally do in a court, like you're going to file in court, and you make an addendum.
Okay.
Then you add it, and you file a clerk's office.
What am I adding at this
the
point?
judge for bias and whatever else you want to go in there with.
Right. Oh, okay. As far as Hovland adding on this magistrate judge Miller, I responded and said we need to vacate those orders of him granting an extension of time to the other parties to reply, because on April 24th there's an order removing Miller from the case because I did not agree to a magistrate judge assignment.
Okay.
And I told them all that I. What's that?
Did you reclude him?
Include him? No, I just responded. I thought I'd give him kind of one warning.
No, you cannot ever in fantasy world ever give them ever a warning or threat of a niceness.
Okay.
Because no people are rude or stupid to do that. Buys them time so that way it gives them time to go behind the back door to come up with something else.
Okay, gotcha. Yep, I get that.
Recluse him for incompetence.
Something about incompetence is all I heard.
Recluse him for incompetence.
Include him for incompetence?
Recluse.
Oh. Hovland,
You don't
the
really
head
have
guy?
to give a reason. You can just recluse you.
Okay. I don't know who it would go to, and I'm trying to not slow it down, but I'm trying to get it right. I just sent a letter, the notice that, look here at your own even docket. It says that he was removed. Why is he signing orders, granting extensions of time? And like I said, the other parties...
Fraud upon the court. You need to issue a charge of fraud upon the court on him.
Well, it's fraud upon the court. It's also, what am I looking for? What we're looking for? What? When the judge contempt of court. File contempt of court charges on him.
Against both of them, the
Notice
magistrate
of
down.
default.
Both of them.
Do an oath default on both.
Okay. I'm a little green at that area on how I apply that to these two, I guess. But like I said, there was a number of parties who buddied up to one attorney, and that attorney responded for like the sheriff, his deputies, and the clerks of that court.
And who was this guy, the prosecutor?
What's
The
that?
prosecutor? Hello?
No, there's no other prosecutor. The prosecutor would be me.
You're the
Not?
prosecutor?
I don't know. I mean,
You're,
I'm the one bringing.
How did they bring you into court?
No,
Are you the defendant or the plaintiff?
Oh, in the initial divorce case, I was the defendant. Yes.
Are you still acting as the defendant?
I am the plaintiff in my RICO suit. I'm the injured party.
The plaintiff.
Right, and that's what you have to say is injured party corpus delicti.
I did put in the party. I didn't have an understanding well enough to do corpus delicti when I filed.
Right.
The Supreme Court ruled that there to be the injured party, the corpus delicti, 18 U.S.C. 3701. So you go into court as the corpus delicti, the injured party. That is your claim.
Yeah, I did. So I did.
Right back. And let's take another caller right now. Get this other call, and we'll come back in. So go ahead, other caller.
Hello, Ed. What is your web address?
New.OregonTrackers.com.
Give me that www.what?
New, N-E-W, dot, all lowercase, Oregon, O-R-E-G-O-N, T-R-A-C-K-E-R-S, .com or .org.
Okay, that's www.new.OregonTrackers.org.
Mm-hmm. Is this
That's
who I
correct.
think it is?
Yes, sir.
You still got my email, don't you?
Right. Is that correct? .org or .com? Which one is it?
Right, not either or. I have them both.
You do both of them?
Yeah, I have both of them paid.
You got both. And also, is Michelle on the line?
You know? And so send me that because I got some information to email you back.
Okay, is Michelle on the line?
I guess so. Michelle, you there?
Hold on.
Hello?
Yes, Michelle.
Yes.
I just want to know, what is the status of your case? I hadn't heard you say anything. Did you win your case, or is it still ongoing?
It's still ongoing. I just come across more evidence, and I had just got with the FBI agent. And as we speak, I'm actually doing a cover sheet on the evidence to give to the FBI. And you know how you do correspondence, so that we can have a record. So they told me they were going to get with me, and I'm still waiting. So I'm doing a correspondence, because keep in mind, they are very busy. They got an awful lot of cases that they're handling. So the news is they seemed impressed, and they were also impressed with David's claim also. The gentleman saw documentation, his folder, because I actually forgot to take it in with me when I went to speak to the other, because we had two different guys, okay, separated. And anyway, good news is they liked this. They took one. Well, they actually took two of my documents that I had in David's folder. So I wasn't aware of that until after I got out, talking to the gentleman that I was talking to, and I have discovered many things regarding fraudulent acts that pertains to the court and, of course, to the corporation, regarding the state treasurer and etc. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm putting it together. When I get back home, then I'll move forward, and I will reopen my case on new evidence and go from there. a motion to vacate the judge's order on new evidence, and that's basically where I'm going to head. Unless the FBI takes it, because I told them I want to go criminal. Cause what they're trying to do, see, they're forcing me to go civil, and I want to go criminal. They forgot that I know how to address the court and move the court from civil into criminal court, because what you do is you file an affidavit criminal complaint in civil court on your evidence, and you move. In other words, you ask the judge to move it forward into criminal court. Okay, so that's what I'm doing. Ed, you sent an email a long time ago, and I was going through my stuff, and on HCR 192, and of course you touched on many topics. That's what David was looking at while we've been on the phone, because there's things you touched on that are really valuable information as to what we need to do to the public. As to refreshing, it's going back and refreshing our notes on things that we have touched on in the past. On your case, Angela, what you want to do is you want to file a default. Okay, that was your title. You put it in bold, and it's in the center, of course, on your title page. It's notice of default. You put it in bold and you underline it. And what you do is you move forward, as you, just like you're addressing the court, like you have been, and you say now you put living natural American, and dude with all rights, and then you're going to list your faults. Now, what they're doing with you is they're making you show the evidence that they're supposed to be showing. To object, because you're not really, you're the defendant. So the defendant's not supposed to be showing cause, okay? That's what they're doing to you. They're making you show cause upon the court. Mm-hmm. So you have to object and say, excuse me, I'm not ordered and supposed to be answering to show cause. The reason they want you to answer showing cause is because what they're doing is they're going to move forward with a motion to dismiss on a final judgment. And they're going to claim that you didn't show enough evidence in court and da-da-da-da-da, you name it, whatever they're going to say. You have to object to the plaintiff, ordering you to answer to her as to showing cause. You're not supposed to be showing cause. Remember, you're the defendant.
The injured party.
That you're not guilty. So what they're doing is they're just you to show cause, and what you're doing is basically presenting their case. Do you follow what I'm trying to say?
I guess he's muted right now, but he's the injured party.
Oh, okay.
You use
so
the other
anyway,
that's considered legal advice.
She needs to review that tape, the video.
Right.
And also, I don't know, is she familiar with the website regarding the federal rules split?
Yes, she is. She's had it. I know, because I sent her to her. And that's one thing. She's hasn't really replied back and forth with emails. Well, I have sent her a few, and that's one thing that, it's been like last month when she put up on Facebook, that many times they say, call me, and I never hear from her, and this is the first time I've heard from her in a month since, what was the last time she put that up on my Facebook wall? I think that was like 2 weeks ago.
She can also the court in contempt of court for them not responding to her request. Now, it's usually anywhere from 15 to 21 days. After 21 days, of course, they're definitely in contempt of court, and she can for a dismissal for them not answering her request as her being the defendant, also, so she can move.
Well, actually, we got to put up a template on the site like this. We're going over and hashing things that we've said over the last 3 months, repeating ourselves, and eventually we'll have a template so we just tell people where to go on the site to get it. So this way we can get some.
She looks at the federal rules booklet.
She does. I sent it and I put it on her Facebook wall.
Okay, well, it's real important that
I know that, and it's on the website too.
Okay, because that's going to help her what she after what
That's,
we're trying to do.
right, and don't forget the state administration book. Is the other point you don't go by, but you look at, and that compares to the federal book, and it's just guidelines that ensures that way. So you when you put it in there, you file on an engage with the federal, so that way they can't walk away and get away with nothing.
Well, if she watches that video, the one that I just posted, for us, I think she'll get a good education from that video, how she's supposed to represent herself in court. If she can document the statements being made in the video, that will help her tremendously. Because it comes down to we're not to be in their jurisdiction, so and that's why they're asking her to show cause. It's not up to her to show cause. It's not her. She's not the plaintiff.
No, this is the injured party.
That's right. So that's why they're making her show
Needs
cause.
to go as the injured party.
That's right. So she's going to have to learn how to object, and she can object and still answer, but at least object. So that way she can bring it back in court later on, as long as she's objecting. If she's ordered to answer to the plaintiff, she files a notice of default, but she answers the order, and then she lays all the faults pertaining to her that order as answering to the plaintiff. Why she shouldn't be answering and da-da-da-da. In other words, she needs to show damages rendered upon her rather than them asking her to show evidence on cause.
All they're doing is having her run around in a circle, and we've already told her this several times over the last several months, so we're continually repeating ourselves.
Right. Well, you know, Ed, Bill hasn't been...
Those are emails, and we can hit this emails like I've been suggesting. So, Ed, you got that one right?
Anyway, I'll give you back the floor.
And I'm putting that one on her wall right now because even though I don't support religious organizations, you do have an actual valid point. This video needs to be watched, and I tell everybody to watch the movie. Interstate 60 is a mandatory watch, and I'm putting this up on your wall right now, and this is a mandatory watch. Because, you know, I'm posting this around, and I thought I'd put it up on your wall the other day to listen to how the courts work. And so the suggestions that Michelle has brought to you again, those are things you need to look at. You know, I don't know why it didn't go on your wall. Interesting. So, but you've got to start looking at stuff. No, I haven't had a chance to go read your case yet. I don't know if Michelle had a chance to look at it yet herself.
No.
You know, Dave hasn't, so I haven't had a chance. Okay, it's up on your wall twice. That's a mandatory watch, and it'll walk you through things. The White House Law Club did email me back. I'll have some conversations. Some of their videos I suggested to them I will put up. We do have written authorization or email authorization for them, so long as we're not editing and doctoring them up. But I'm not going to be doctoring them up because I like what they're saying. I don't go by a religious point of view. So, and that's a man or woman's constitutional rights of their religious beliefs. So I can't say or contradict another religion. I can speak about it, but they have their rights too. So, did we get some of that answered for you, Angie?
Control. Upper
Are you
right.
still there?
There you go. I was muted.
Oh, okay. All right.
I couldn't say anything.
Get back
Go
in.
ahead.
Star 60 or 61 star or something like that.
I was muted, and there's nothing I could do. This notice of default, see, I did try that before, and then I got a thing back, and she's afraid about them telling me I have to prove my case. But in the federal case, I am the one bringing the suit. I am the injured party.
Right.
To the defendants, I wasn't able to do the notice, or I did, and then they said, oh, well, we don't have this with this, which they did, something fell apart. Everybody's concerned now, and like I said, they've grouped into groups somewhat.
Can't hear you. You're talking in an echo chamber.
Can you hear me now?
A little better.
So I guess if I can get with Michelle sometime, maybe she can help me to put it together.
Did you get my email? I don't know.
I don't know what happened to her. And the other point that I want to recommend people to watch is there's a good video. It's an older one. He's getting a lot more hits on it. As Rob Ryder claimed the name before they do. You know, I mean, I do like a lot of Rob's videos. I've watched them over the years. So you have to claim you. You have to own you. If you allow them to claim you and own you through the court proceedings, through your administrative rules of their administrative rules, they own you. And this is the point that I strongly suggest people watch these things, because you have to write your case. You have to know your case when you go into these things. Because if you don't know who you are, you don't know your standing. And that is the biggest point, is comprehending your standing when you go out there to these kangaroo court systems. You know, I mean, I like to see a lot of them be shut down. You know, once you start filing, once I get this thing finished, I just finished putting it together. But everybody needs to be filing under their 1938 Foreign Agent Registration Act. And people say, well, we don't have to be registered. Yes, they do. Don't let them lie to you. And then I'll get the other one written up to file the charges. But charges are already basically written up in this to when you serve them, and then you just serve that to the court. But you'll have the emails to send it to the Supreme Court, the Federal Court, the Department of Justice, right, for the registration court for them too, putting all the emails in this affidavit structure, so that way when you serve it, you email it to everybody else on the email, including your elected and public servant. And that's the point that I'm putting it, so you write their name in it. If you know their employee number,
We had a bit of a crash on the web browser. We will be back shortly.
This service is provided in high definition by freeconferencecallhd.com. There are 9 participants in the conference. The recording has started.
we have to stand up. You know. So, Dave, you going to add something on this, or?
No, I think you pretty well covered it, Ed. Equity would be another thing we might want to touch on.
Okay.
As to on equity, damages rendered, you have to state a claim. Make sure whenever you file anything in the court, state a claim, because claim is where they render damages.
Mm-hmm.
So, how did they harm you? You must prove it. I think that's about it. You might want to ask for total disclosure. I think, trying to remember, if they have a case against you, you are entitled to, I'm trying to remember what that's called. Disclosure. If they file a case here, you just demand disclosure.
They have to give whatever they file in court.
Whatever they file in court, they have to give you the evidence.
That's right. And you want to make sure that when you do this, you have to write in the evidence that you want. And you don't ask it like a pleading and please. You insert your rights. You insert for your evidence. And when
Another thing, too, Ed, is
Okay.
something that we think about. What she needs to do is go to the house and pull up her actual case that she's addressing. There are going to be many things that they have filed upon that court that she's not aware of. She needs to pull up the file and sit down and thumb through all those documents to see what she has not received on the upper end. I'm a little confused. I believe she is the defendant, and she's trying to act as being the plaintiff. Normally, you don't go in as a defendant unless that case was closed and she reopened it. So what she's doing is she's addressing the court, acting as being the plaintiff, but in reality, she's not. She's the defendant. Now, I could be wrong, but that's how I'm taking it. She is not the plaintiff. She is the defendant. So she has to, so in other words, making mistakes, she's addressing herself as the plaintiff when in reality she is the defendant.
Mm-hmm.
So there might be a little bit of confusion there because that's how I'm kind of taking it. I believe she is still the defendant unless her husband closed that case, and that case was actually closed and she reopened it on new evidence. But as far as I'm concerned, I think she's the defendant.
Yeah, well, the husband has got the kid, so she's trying to get her kid back, and so.
Right, but if he addressed the court before she did, and she's addressing that claim.
Yeah, she's still running back and forth on it.
Unless that
She's
case
not
is
at
closed.
the beginning.
Pardon?
She did have to present herself in the beginning, so she's still learning.
Right. So I still think she is the defendant then. And what she needs to do is go to court and look and see what everything's been filed. Because I'm going to bet your britches there's a lot there she's not aware of.
Well, she needs not to use the word defendant. She needs to use the word injured party because it's 50% of her blood that's injured.
Well, it's true, Ed, but remember...
That's legal terminology, and we do not
how to go around that scenario also.
We are not lawyers, we are not doctors, we are not, do not use legal terms.
She didn't bring the claim upon the court. They brought it upon her, so she is a defendant as an injured party.
She's an injured party. You don't want to defend it because we don't use those terminology. We are not attorneys. We are not lawyers.
That's right, Ed. But she does not have that much training under her belt.
I know that, but we've said this before the last several months with her. She's getting it. She's holding it together. Her eyes are slowly opening up. Let's keep it.
That's why she claims herself as a claimant, as the defendant. If she goes that route, she has no worries.
Thank you. I can't say a thing.
Oh, go ahead.
In a case brought forward by my husband at the time, he was a plaintiff and I was listed as a defendant. Since that time, it was in 2011 started. Since that time, and all the crap he's pulled, and the kidnapping, and all of this insane stuff, I have now brought forth my RICO in August, and that's in the federal court. In that, I'm the one bringing forth that motion to try to rectify the wrongs committed in the other court, to let them know of the violations and all of that.
Okay, so, then Angela, what you have to do is what I want you to do is you got to go to the courthouse and you got to open up the old files. Okay.
You suggest, because you cannot take liability. We're not attorneys. We're not lawyers.
Okay, but
if you don't go back into the court records, and I'm talking about the old one also, if you don't go back in those and look and proofread what was filed in court, you have no idea what they've done. So you have to go and you personally yourself sit down on their computer and review and see what was filed, okay?
Yes, I have done that. You can do that on the computer. Everything that they have is on the computer, and I keep that docket and everything. I know the docket pretty good.
Well, that's
you can't go there and see those papers and stuff. I mean, they don't. That's unheard of.
No, that's not true. That's where you're wrong. When you go into the court, you have to go where the court records are, and you can pull up your case. Now, in order for you to do that, of course, you have to have the case number. But you can pull up the old case by the case number. You can sit down on their computer. They have a little room off to the side where people can go and review their cases.
No, I know what you're saying. I totally know what you're saying, because when I heard of this, I went and did this with one computer, and you're allotted a few minutes, and it's sitting right there in front of the clerk in the class, and that's all I have access to. I bought records. They were is what I have on hand, all of that. But you can't, like other people say, they can look through and they'll big file. Well, our file started in 2011, and it's over 900 entries on the docket. But the way North Dakota is you can follow it online. They list everything online. When I doubt or think that they're pulling crap, I will get a hold of the clerk and have her send her docket listing.
Okay, well, are you aware that after 5 years you can't bring a claim unless it has to do with RICO? In other words, if your husband brought a claim against you in 2011, you can't go back unless you can prove fraud. Once the 5 years is up, the case is done. Are you aware of that?
One, our divorce case is still open. It's still our docket is open. It's reopened years ago because I appealed. And two, I did bring a RICO, and I sent it to you and Edwards twice now. I didn't hear anything back from either one of you.
I have not received your actual case, but and I haven't been home either.
On the Facebook site and public records.
A lot of it is, not all of it. I did open a RICO. August 23rd of this year, I had a friend, because I'm 700 plus miles away, and I had a friend hand deliver it for me who lives up there, and she delivered it and it's filed, and I have summons, everything. It's going forward. And that's, I'm getting responses.
I sent you on Facebook, I sent you an instant message, David's phone number, so you can call me and talk to me. We need to call me so we can talk one-on-one, so I can get a better understanding of what you're trying to do for me in order to help you.
Sure.
If you call that number, I'll be able to talk to you. Because I'm at home right now. I'm at Dave's house.
Okay, you got to each other's Facebook stuff so you can message numbers back and forth to each other.
Yeah. So
and then we work on getting
give me a call.
plates of this stuff up too.
Yeah.
Okay, I will try to find that.
Angela, I can't stress it. You have to learn the Federal Rules Booklet outlet. If you don't comprehend that program, I'm going to tell you right now, you're not going to do very well in court. That's very important to understand that stuff.
Right.
No, any more than that, sweetie.
I've been following that, and
if there's nothing you comprehend, understand, then you need to call me and talk to me so I can walk you through the steps.
Okay. I can't get the internet right now. That was my phone. We don't have service here. They've stopped providing service. So it's hit or miss.
I sent you, it's been a while, but I sent you an instant message through Facebook, and I gave you a phone number to reach me on.
Okay, I will, it's still searching for network. It'll probably kill the battery looking, but I'll keep trying to find that. Thank you. And I will call you.
All right. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, Brenda, I'm posting up on the site too right now. Dealing with another that has been arrested for using the Social Security ID number, 192. So the thing is that we know what the federal law is, Dave and I. We're trying to go through this to make sure that nobody gets into predicaments of the way these people have done what they're doing. We know that, and Dave has a good point that apparently is working, and jump back off on the accident that we got off on tonight with a direction I really want to go on immigration, because of what's going on in the country. That's the saddest part of what's going on in this country, because, the country is going to hell in a handbasket. Go ahead, Dave. Explain the checkpoint again.
You talking about HDR 192?
Yeah, the way you're doing your checks.
Yeah, okay. It's HDR 192. You'll find the information there. It's also got it on the web.
No, we don't have it on
the... I put on the front of my check this HDR 192 and the public laws that are associated with it. And the banks, being corporations, must honor public law. So you put HDR 192 on the bottom of your check above your signature. Autograph. Change. You want to write autograph underneath the line where you normally sign it, but you're going to autograph it. And then on the back, you put a qualified endorsement relating to HDR 192. Under the Bankruptcy Act of 1933, the government must pay your debt. And those two options is where that all comes in play. That has that posted on the website. So anyway, tax fraud in America. I'm not sure if I got it posted there before I got kicked off or not. But I will resend it to Ed so he has it. He can post it back up on New Oregon Trackers and the other websites. It's a very simple program. Every time you write a check, your checkbook, and you want to make sure you got this at home when you're writing these checks, and you make a template. You know how your check fits in to it. You tape it to it and then print it, and it'll print it right out on your checkbook or on your check itself. Once they sign the HR 192 on the qualified endorsement on the back, you get money back from the check that you wrote. I've actually gained over $7,000 by using this program. So you need to comprehend what HDR 192 is and deal with it. So I think that pretty much covers it, Ed.
Yeah, and that's part of the March 9th, 1933 Bankruptcy Act. That's when Executive Order 2040 was signed into order. Remember, executive orders are the corporation orders. And it clearly states any citizen or national are an enemy to we the bloodline Americans. So it is knowing the circumstances of what the affidavits of your elected and public employees do, how they work, and that is the way of getting these things across. So this way, instead of people going in and trying to comprehend what is not there, because remember, most of everything people go by are what the law is, a statute, code, or administrative rules. Well, if you're not a member of that corporation, you're not going by their administrative rules, and how they end up getting you in that corporation is by that birth certificate. And when you call yourself, register yourself as a citizen, or you call yourself a national, you are putting yourself in that designated area. I don't call myself an inhabitant or anything. I just say I live a part of the 48 states. I'm part of the 48 states. I'm just a bloodline American.
Well, Treasury, Ed, has to discharge.
Right.
Has to discharge your debt. This was all covered under the 73rd Congress. First session, 4849, June 5th and 6th, 1933. HJR 92, 1490 Public Law 48 Law 1, 48 Stat 1 Public Law 10, Chapter 48 Stat 112, and or Public Law 7310, 40 Stat 411 Treating with Enemies Act. October 6th, 1917. So when you put on your check I think if it's not already on our website, I'll make sure Ed gets it tonight. And we will give you how to put this on your check. But it's Chapter 48, 48 Stat 112, Public Law 7310, 40 Stat 411, and it is no longer, since the revision to public law, it is no longer HJR 192. So you need to put HJR 192 revised, REV, okay, and then public laws associated, because resolution pertains to them. The public law pertains to us. We have the right to use it. So that becomes lawful in public law. So public law 10, chapter 48, 48 stat 112, and public law 73-10, 40 stat 411. So hopefully I said that slow enough everybody got on to what they need to do to get their bills paid, since they took away our lawful currency.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the point that we've got to put back in place, and so I think that they found a niche compared to what everybody else keeps trying to do it by the 1099A forms. Because when you're using their forms, this is where people are getting in trouble, I've noticed. And Dave looks like he's got one that's working, and then once I get that, I guarantee you, I'm going to start writing checks that way, because I'll start paying certain bills exactly that way. So I will be doing that and watching that too, because I will be doing that, and what I'll do is I'm going to have the printing company idea with doing me a template, and then that way I can actually just put it right over on my checks when I do it. And eventually I'm going to have my checks made that way with them on it. You can argue with them when you got proof that it's all being verified.
You don't have to read.
So do we have anybody else that like to chime in? Hey, nobody else. Well,
Hey, guys, how's it going?
Go ahead, Dave.
May I?
Yeah.
Hey, this is Ray calling Hawaii.
Hey, Ray, go ahead, Ray.
Hey, so I would assume that this discharge of debts, that would apply only to a personal account. Is that right? Not like a business account.
So that's the way I take it. Yes, it's personal account. Because this is debt. In other words, this is your food bill, this is your light bill, this is your gas bill, all the stuff that things, the necessities of life, water bills, all that can be discharged under H.R. 192. And public law, all banks are required to honor public law. And if you don't, you can go
said it was public law. You said it was public law
and Trade Commission and file a claim against them.
I see. And so you said it was public law 10, stat 48, or?
Just a second. Gotta find it again.
Yeah, as soon as I get it, I'll post it up on your wall.
Yeah, it's let's see, Chapter 48 and 49, June 5th and 6th, 1933, HJR 192. Am I going too fast for you?
No, go ahead.
Okay, HJR 192, HR 1491, Public Law 1, 48 Stat, 1 Public Law, Chapter 10, 48 Stat 112, and Public Law and because you can use either one, depending if you want to do electronic filing or check writing. So Public Law 73-10, 40 Stat, 411, the Trading with the Enemies Act, October 6th, 1917.
I see. All right, well, got some background noise there.
Sounds like you got a tow motor backing up.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no. So then you guys are going to post it up. But I understood you authorized your check. You put AR 192, or should you put the public law on there?
Once I get the way I wrote it up for my checks, I'll get it over to Ed and we'll post it up on the wall.
All right, fair enough. And appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, and by the way, it's on your wall right now.
Oh, okay. Thank you. All right. Thanks for the show, guys.
Yeah, and also put the video up too, where those other people have been nailed, and lots of them get nailed because they're using IRS forms doing this.
Oh, you think that's it? I see. Okay.
Yeah, when you're using their forms, they're nailing them. We're using our forms as a check.
Right. Okay. That makes sense.
May I?
Go ahead.
Would you like me to read the verbiage pertaining to the endorsement since we're addressing the HJR 192?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Well, I was going to read something on the first paragraph here to help Angela and whoever's addressing the court. This is how I make my statements, and of course you can do it at your leisure how you want to write it. But I say, comes now, Michelle, a living natural American, a victim endured with all her natural rights, and designates, and you would say your county, as place of trial within the state of your state, which would be Florida or whatever, and alleges upon information and belief of a foreign pauper forbidden to own land, arbitrarily assigned to anyone's name and used to represent radically different identities. But on paper, the use of such a system instantly defines what or whom is being talked about if you know the system, as deceiving the claimant as you, as Michelle, one of the people, hang on, I gotta flip the page, one of the people present to the powers and duties bestowed upon us by citizens. The undersigned do hereby resolve that any federal officer, agent, or employee, regardless of supposed congressional authorization, is required to obey the law and observe limitations consisting of the enumerated powers as detailed within Article 1, Section 8 of the U.S. Constitution and the Bill of Rights. Now I'm going to go into the statement as to basically what the video, the recording that we listened to on Skeleton regarding the Pledge of Allegiance. Now this is to HJR 192 as to what we're talking about. This has to do with the endorsement regarding the checks or bonds or any kind of note, okay? Now it starts out by saying, and I'm going to use the word defendant, but you would also put yourself as claimant, okay, because you would be the claimant. Claimant did not countersign by the person whose specimen signature appears on the instrument as a check. Certificate of deposit means an instrument containing an acknowledgement by a bank that sum of money has been received by the bank and a promise by the bank to repay the sum of money back. As you did not receive any money or check for countersignature by the person whose specimen signature appears on the instrument. And of course, I'm talking on my behalf, but I'm also relating it as to you. I did not receive any money as claimed by the bank regarding the note, and plaintiff or counsel, or as you being the claimant, have no standing. Their names are not on the instrument to the note or payment. I know, but I'm indicating as you were the claimant and you're talking about the enemy who would be the plaintiff against you. That would be the attorneys or whoever is claiming in other words, who claimed a lien upon you. That would be they would be the plaintiff, and you, of course, you would be the
right. We got. Just read what it says. We know that one.
Okay. Well, anyway, that has to do with the endorsement, and that's very critical to comprehend because the banks and the lawyers don't want you to know that. I want you to think of it as your check. Your check is an instrument, and your signature is the endorsement.
Your autograph, your signature is a dead man's hand.
That's right. That's what goes on the check. So when your signature and your autograph goes on the check, that once you put your name on that check, it becomes an instrument. This is how they deceived us now. Now, so you comprehend, I should say, what the importance is here. A bank cannot do a transfer to another bank without your consent. Now think about this. If they can't do a transfer without your consent, meaning the endorsement, the check is dead until it's signed by you. When you sign that check, it becomes an instrument. That means you're telling the bank who you do business with, whatever you're doing with your money, you're depositing or withdrawing that money, you have to have your signature on that check, the instrument to give it okay. If you don't have your signature on that check, they can't with it, okay? It's the same scenario with what they're doing to you regarding these fraudulent foreclosures. The reason why lawyers and attorneys don't go that far is because it becomes now criminal, meaning it's identity theft. You have to prove you are a victim to identity theft because, after all, you didn't consent to the taking on that transfer. Remember, the banks are the trustees. They cannot sue you. Only a lender can. That lender's name has to be on the endorsement as to the counter-signature specimen's name as you receiving money into your bank's account. Gentlemen and women, you did not receive lawful money. What you received was a promissory note.
And it even say that $1 bill.
Value. Once you get this down pat in your head, you can go after them for identity theft on fraudulent transfers. Now that goes back on the HJR 192. Because HJR 192 defines what is lawful money and what is not lawful money under the currency backed by gold.
Gold and or silver only.
Pardon?
Gold or and silver only.
Correct. So this is where Trump evidently made this big claim, I guess, just recently, and that is what I believe he was addressing. That's what they're talking about as to the new dollar.
Right.
What Trump is trying to do is bring back the lawful money, because there is lawful money.
He's doing the same thing John F. Kennedy was murdered, bringing back the green notes that we own instead of a foreign bank called the British government, called the Vatican.
That's correct, Ed. Anyway, I thought I would read that to you since we were on the subject on the HJR 192. It comes down to equity. When we want to claim damages upon ourselves, it falls under equity. And once you start looking up these things that Ed and David and other people are talking about, it'll start falling together and it'll start clicking. But if you can get that concept down about the incident pertaining to the endorsement, this is what they don't want you to know. The banks don't want you to know that, and nor do the lawyers or attorneys, because now it becomes criminal, not civil. Anyway, I'll give you back the floor.
Hey, anyhow, I was thinking we have no more questions. If anybody got any other thoughts before, because if not, I think we'll call it an evening, because it's 10 o'clock where Dave's at, and so anybody would like to speak up, we'll open up the floor and let you speak, and if not, we'll call it an evening.
All participants are unmuted. Q&A session is over.
Anybody would like to speak up?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, nobody's speaking up, so why don't we just call it a night, Dave? I'll let you have your say, and then I'll close it up.
I thought we had somebody in here who said they had a comment.
Go ahead.
Ended Q&A. They need to unmute everyone.
He did.
Anyone have a question?
No, we're just going to be shuffling papers.
Okay, Ed.
So go ahead, Dave.
Well, we want to thank you again for joining us. I hope the information and educational information that we passed out was for your benefit. Not lawyers, not attorneys, so you make sure you double check everything we say, because we we make no claim to being anything but quoting from what they wrote. So, with that in mind, thanks again for joining us. Join us next week. We will, next week, talk more about immigration. And we will try to bring you the latest and best. Okay, Ed, I'll turn it back over to you.
All right, thank you. Anyhow, we'd like to thank everybody for joining us. Like Dave said, we are not attorneys, we're not lawyers, we are not government personnel. We are just two guys that have been doing research combinedly for, I've got 30 years, he's got at least the same, 35. So we got over 60, 70 years of research knowledge here. And that's the point. And like I said, like with public law, 110 and public law dealing with the dollar and debt notes, we're trying to get it down. We've been doing research on it. Everybody that I've watched on Facebook and the internet starts doing that, especially when you do their system, the government system, your elected and public servant system called the IRS. Remember, the IRS was left here by King George in 1778. And so in the 13 colonies started instituting it on the East Coast. And I know because on the West Coast we didn't even have property taxes outside of the city limits, and even that's still voluntary. So, and that's the other point, getting back to our voluntary system for the lawful Americans, and everybody keeps going, we're democracy. No, there's a cartoon we have up on our website. Please take a look, new.org and trackers, where you can see where the straw man is being thrown on the fire by Alice and the Tin Man and the Lion and everyone. The comment is, that's democracy. We all voted fair and square, so we're using you for heat. And so that's what they're doing with you right now, calling it a democracy. And everybody says, I'm a Democrat. We do democracy. No, we're not a democracy. We're a republic form of government. And look at the terminology, republic, government, free state. Not Republican, republic. And this is the point that people have to come together and realize this stuff. It's like they're doing this stuff in Vegas right now, another live deal with the sheriff for the Las Vegas shooting. I want to know who paid the Democrats and who was the guy who got paid to do it. Because nobody just goes out and shoots people. People ain't that crazy, and beforehand, people usually get shot before that happens. I know. I have been in the bar industry and nightclub industry, and I've dealt with shooters personally myself. I have been personally in shootouts myself. So when I watch this stuff goes on, it's like I've disarmed many men and a few women in my time in the bar industry and the rock and roll industry, doing stupid stuff. And a man, anybody who has any comprehensive training or knowledge in using the brain, and very few people use the brain today, especially those type of things, you can diffuse a situation before it happens. So I just want to know, this was allowed to happen. This was not just a fluke. And I want to know if this is going to be another Sandy Hook or Boston bombing where all that turned out to be publicly funded and exercises. Here in my county, they tried to make a deal with the school district here about 2011 and said how the kids were being evaded in the schools when actually it was a police exercise, and the cops went in with guns and arms and pointed it directly at the children. And I felt every cop should have had their jaw and their nose busted for that. So when you see this stuff, it's bullshit, in my opinion. But opinions are like diapers, need to be changed regularly, and nobody comprehends this point. But when you see some of this stuff goes on and the craziness that's going on, it's not, some of it ain't real, folks. You have to come back to reality. And if it is real, and if there's more than one witness to a guy who actually did it, why are we wasting funding? He should just go be hung or go to a shooting squad, be executed. We need to get back to having real structure in the site instead of funding all these attorneys and lawyers and judges for no reason. They're not worth a damn. And that's a fact, because all they do is rape, rob, and pillage for financial gain. So anyhow, with that, I would like to say, may the Great Spirit bless you, may Mother bless you, Mother Earth, and the Creator keep an eye over you and your family. And most of all, walk with the Great Spirit. So, I believe in native law. I don't go by foreign religions that came from foreign countries onto our soil. So with that, I'd like to end that with our with Red Skelton, and you all have a good evening.
All participants are muted.
Well, I remember a teacher that I had. Now, I went through the seventh grade. I went to the seventh grade. I left home when I was 10 years old because I was hungry. And I used to, this is true. I work in the summer and I go to school in the winter. But I had this one teacher. He was the principal of the Harrison School in Vincennes, Indiana. To me, this was the greatest teacher, a real sage of my time, anyhow. He had such wisdom. And we were all reciting the Pledge of Allegiance one day. And he walked over, this little old teacher. Mr. Laswell was his name. Mr. Laswell. And he says, he says, I've been listening to you boys and girls recite the Pledge of Allegiance all semester, and it seems as though it's becoming monotonous to you. If I may I recite it and try to explain to you the meaning of each word. I, me, an individual, a committee of one, pledge, dedicate all of my worldly goods to give without self-pity. Allegiance, my love and my devotion to the flag, our standard, Old Glory, a symbol of freedom. Wherever she waves, there's respect, because your loyalty has given her a dignity that shouts freedom is everybody's job. United. That means that we have all come together. States, individual communities that have united into 48 great states. 48 individual communities with pride and dignity and purpose. All divided with imaginary boundaries, yet united to a common purpose. And that's love for country. And to the Republic, a state in which sovereign power is invested in representatives chosen by the people to govern. And government is the people. And it's from the people to the leaders, not from the leaders to the people, for which it stands. One nation, meaning so blessed by God, indivisible, incapable of being divided, with liberty, which is freedom, the right of power to live one's own life without threats, fear, or some sort of retaliation. And justice, the principle or qualities of dealing fairly with others. For all, which means, boys and girls, it's as much your country as it is mine. And now, boys and girls, let me hear you recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Since I was a small boy, 2 states have been added to our country, and 2 words have been added to the Pledge of Allegiance: under God. Wouldn't it be a pity if someone said that is a prayer and that would be eliminated from schools too?
Thank you for listening. You've been listening to the disclaimers by Davidlee Buess and Edward Johnston. Today is October 2nd, 2017, and you all have a very, very good night.